Hi guys and welcome back to iClone 3D, where we discuss tips, tricks and tutorials for the latest animation softwares. And today I've got a very quick tutorial on how to use the motion puppet to get characters to kind of interact with each other and, you know, look like they're having a conversation or they're talking, etc. And you know, I've done a tutorial before on the motion puppet, but we're going to go much more in depth, so you want to stick around for this one. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the tutorial. So what you want to do is load up a couple of characters. I've got my two Effectors here, and we're just going to position them as if they were looking at each other, having a, let's say, sort of conversation with each other. Once we've got our characters positioned, we're going to want to open up the motion puppet tool, and we'll start to, you know, add some motion and get it looking like they're communicating with each other. And we're going to use the mask to, you know, mask out different points, so each actor can have their kind of moment, let's say. So first we'll go down to the talk tool, and before we do that we'll go to the idle tool. So we'll add some nice idle motion in there, and we'll just choose female natural, and we'll just preview that. So we can see we've got some issues with the arm going through the mesh, and I'll show you how to fix that as well, so you don't have to worry about that issue. So we'll just take the exaggeration down a little bit, and we'll hit record. And we're going to act as if they're having a conversation. So at this part she'll be listening, and maybe now he's finished speaking, so she'll then go on to talk. So what we're going to do is we're going to mask out the leg movement. We're just going to go back here. We'll go to about here. We'll say he finishes talking and she's going to butt in. So we'll just mask out the legs, and we'll keep the upper body movement and the arms. And then what we'll do is we'll go to talk. So now we're going to add in a talk motion, but we're going to take out the legs. So it's just going to be the arms, and it's going to keep the leg motion that we've already recorded. So we'll just add female argument, and we'll just take out those legs, and we'll hit preview. So we can see the leg movement's already there, and now she's just responding to whatever he has said to annoy her. So we'll hit record, and that will then record that in. And again, we'll fix the arms later and get all that fixed. And now we can see the leg movement stopped. So we can then stop that there, and we can then make her go back to being idle at about this position here. So if we just drag the timeline back here, then we're going to go back to our idle, and we'll go female, hands on hips. And what we're going to do is we're going to preview that, and brilliant. So we'll just hit record, and so it's at that moment there she's going to go idle. Perfect. Right, now so we're going to need to blend that a little bit just to get that more natural. So we'll just do a little bit of blending, and we'll just see how that looks. Okay, nice, it blends really well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run that from the top and just watch that back. So let's firstly fix these arms so we can get a nice smooth watch back. So what we're going to want to do is, if we just go to our character and we hit number 3 on our keyboard, that will bring up the edit motion layer, and then we can just start to move these arms into the correct position that we want them in. So we'll just move that out of the mesh, and then we'll move that a little bit over that way there, and that looks pretty good to me. And we'll just do the same thing with the other arm here. We'll just bring that out a little bit there so that doesn't collide with the mesh, and we'll just raise that up just a tad, and that seems about right to me. So we'll just check that there, and we'll just watch that back and see how that plays. And brilliant, you can see here the arms don't collide with the mesh. But now the issue we're going to have is when it skips to this frame, the arms are in a completely different position. So you could do one of two things actually. What we could do is we could go to the last frame here just before the arms change. So you could just hit the control keys on your keyboard just to get that exact and precise, and then we can hit 3 on the keyboard again, and we can open up our edit motion layer, and we can just say copy pose. Now what that will do is that will copy this exact pose here, so when we go into our next frame here, we can just go back into the edit motion layer, and then we can paste that pose over. So that will now have the same pose as in the last take. And then what we'll do is we'll go a few frames ahead, and then we'll just hit reset, and that will take us back to our original pose, and you'll see it should transition nicely into that maneuver. Perfect, as you can see. So you can see how well that really works. It really does work well to get the transitions going really smoothly from different motions. So we can see that's really smooth and it looks really, really cool. And we'll just see how that transitions again, and perfect. So now we've got some motion that you can see I've done in about 1 minute or 2 minutes that's taken. And we've got about, 12 to 15 seconds worth of motion from this character. So I'll just take that edit motion layer off, and we can see here we need to fix the arm as it is going through the dress. Now we can do that in one of two ways. What we can do is we can use the Reach Effector tool, which is a really cool tool, and I'll show you how to use that. So we'll just go a little bit ahead in the timeline and just before it collides with the dress. So again, we can use the control keys just to get that pretty accurate. We can just get that to where we want it, and just before the mesh or the hand goes through the mesh, we'll just take that out one more frame. So just about there, what we can do is we can go over to our Reach Target tool here, and we've got to make sure we've got our character selected, and then we'll just hit Reach Target. So now what this effectively does is it's going to stop the hand going through the mesh by using a kind of collision with a target that it can't, go through or collide through. I think I'm explaining that right, but I'll just show you how that works. So we're just going to want to select, it's the right arm we're going to select. So that will be this arm here. And then when we've selected the arm, you can see the hand comes up in the highlighted yellow here. And we're just going to want to click select target and keep current pose. And what that will basically do is wherever you attach this arm to, which we're going to attach it to the dress, it's not going to change the position. So for example, if I clicked down here, you can see the arm stays exactly in place. Now when I hit play, you'll see that arm will no longer go through the dress. So it's a really cool tool, and I'm just going to close this for a sec just so you can really see how that's working. So we'll just go back, and hand reaches on the skirt, and you can see now it doesn't go through. Now what you are going to have to remember to do is you're going to have to remember to hit release, so it releases the hand for the next movement that is coming up. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. We'll go back into our Reach Target here, and we'll click on the right arm. Now if we go back here, if we just if I turn this off here, we'll see at about this point the arm comes back out of the dress. So what you can do is, just to kind of help you remember exactly where that is, you can just set a quick transform key. We'll just set that there, so that's the point exactly where the arm comes out. Now we're going to go back here, and we're going to have to put that reach key back in. So that was just about there, I believe, about there. And we'll again select target and keep current pose, and we'll just click on that dress, and that should then connect straight onto the dress. And then it's at this point where the hand releases. So what we'll do is we'll just go back a few keys, and we'll just then come down here and hit release. Now this is going to ensure the arm is no longer attached to that dress, and it will release at the right time. So there you go, as you can see, released perfectly. Now just turn that off so we can really watch that back in full swing, and we'll just see how that is working in the scene. So the arm attaches to the dress. You can see I've got it a little bit off, but really, really cool way to get the arm attached and then get it back off and in motion. Now again here we've got another issue with the dress. You can see the arms at this point here go through the dress. So again, we can use the same reach tool, and this time we'll retarget it so it goes exactly where the hand ends up, which is about there. So we'll just go to this frame just before it goes through. We'll click on our Reach Target. We'll select that arm, and it's just at about this point here. It's a bit fiddly. I think it's about at this point here. So we'll just hit select target and keep current pose, and we'll select the dress. And now what we're going to do is effectively we are going to reposition that. So if you want to get a better view, you can come up here and you can turn the bones right down so they're barely visible in the scene, or not visible at all. And then we can just actually reposition that hand so it ends up in the perfect position on the dress. So we'll just use our rotate tool, and then we'll just move that in place just so that ends up perfectly where she is placing her hand in the scene, and that looks about right to me. I mean, the fun may be going through the mesh a little bit, but for now, pretty cool, and I'm really happy with that. So we'll just quickly play back and just see how that works. So there we see it, the hand goes perfectly on the dress, and you know, you can see it really looks like it's, you know, stuck to the body, and it looks really cool. Now I won't bother doing this side because in the shot I'm going for, we can't actually see that side. So you can see there how that works. We'll just watch that back. And you know, it could be tightened up a little bit there, but you know, I'll leave you guys to play around with that and get creative in your own time. But you can really see how cool, you know, that last one looks when it sticks to the body. And now what we'll do is we'll start to add some motion in for our guy over here. Now we can see she has turned a little bit and she's not facing him. To make it easier on yourself and not to have to add all different keyframes, or what you could do is actually a really great tip. Now we've got this motion keyed in, we can actually just merge all these clips to make it one motion by selecting all, right clicking them, and then we'll go here, merge clips, and now that will be one motion. And we can also flatten the motion clips. We'll just flatten all layers here, and that will just ensure if we did add any keyframes, that's all been flattened now. And now effectively what we can do, oops, what's happened here to the arm? I just saw some funny motion. Okay, that wasn't there before. Let me undo. I don't know what I've done. Okay, all right, it seems to be giving some funny issues when I merge the clips. Let me just try that again to see if it weren't a glitch. Okay, cool. So we won't merge the clips on this instance. I just want to save time, so I'll look into that in another time, and I'll do a later tutorial on how we can merge the clips and ensure that that doesn't happen. So we'll keep the clips are as they are for now, and what I was going to do is just position this guy so he's a little bit more on her axis, and it looks like he's kind of facing her. I mean, it does look pretty cool at the minute, to be fair. So we'll just kind of leave it like that. It looks all right. It looks like he's pretty much facing her. And we'll just start to then add this guy's motion in. So we'll just go up to our motion puppet tool. And what we'll do is we'll just go back to the beginning of our timeline. So at this point, he's talking. So it's at about here. She begins to talk. Brilliant. So we'll just add some talk motion from this gentleman. We'll go into our talk tab. And we'll just add and explain. We'll act like, you know, he's been a bit of a naughty guy, and maybe he got caught with a text on his phone, so he has to explain to himself that, you know, it wasn't a girl he's cheating on her with, but it's more just a friend from work. All right, brilliant. So we'll just hit record and get a bit of that motion recorded. Okay, and then she's had enough and she goes to speak. Brilliant. So we'll just stop the recording there, and that motion's been recorded. Perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll just add a nice idle motion on our character as he listens to his lovely girlfriend having a go at him for texting other women. All right, so we'll just find a natural, and we'll just preview that before we record it. Brilliant, it looks good. And we'll just hit record, and now she's talking, so he's idle and she's had enough of speaking. So now we'll go back into him explaining himself, and we'll just go up here to talk, and we'll just pick this one, which we haven't used. We'll just hit preview. Brilliant. And then we'll just record that. So you can see, you know, it's taken me a few minutes, but you know, we've got some really, really good interaction between characters just using the motion puppet tool. Just by using that one tool, we've got, you know, near on a full-blown scene. So I'll just go back to the beginning and we'll just preview that. So he's talking to her. She then begins to respond, and I saw a bit of jitter with our character, so let me just, yep. So we'll just blend that in a little bit more so we don't see that happen. And now you'll see that will completely disappear. Perfect. And you know, you could tighten it up, but you know, for the sake of time, I'll just leave it like that for now. And we'll go back. So she begins to talk and he is now idle and listening, and then she stops and he begins to talk again. So we'll just blend that a bit more so it's smooth. And you know guys, you can really see how quick I'm doing this with, you know, one tool, just a motion puppet tool. We've got a full interactive conversation. And we'll just play that again from the top. But this time what we'll do is we'll very quickly add in a scene. And now we can add this wonderful scenario, hit play, and you know, we've got a fully interactive scene, which looks really cool. And you know, really quick and easy to pull off using just the motion puppet tool. So that concludes this tutorial guys. I really hope that helps, and hopefully see you again soon for another tutorial.